Living aboard a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier is no small feat, especially for the high-ranking officers who oversee the operations of the ship and its personnel. These officers, who include the captain, admirals, and their senior staff, have a unique set of responsibilities and live under different conditions compared to the rest of the crew, while the rest of the ship's sailors work hard on the flight deck, in the engine rooms, and in various other support roles. High-ranking officers live and work in areas that provide them with more privacy and comfort, but still within the confines of the same high-stress, high-paced environment. For high-ranking officers, life aboard a U.S. aircraft carrier is an intense balance of leadership, responsibility, and strategic oversight. The ship's captain, who holds ultimate authority over the entire ship, lives in quarters that offer more privacy and space than the cramped bunks of the enlisted crew. Located on the upper decks of the ship, the captain's quarters are modest yet functional, featuring a private bedroom, office space, and a small sitting area. The room is designed for both rest and work, with a desk where the captain can conduct meetings, strategize, or review operational reports. While the quarters are a step above the crew's accommodations, they still remain far from luxurious, considering the size and complexity of the aircraft carrier. The captain's quarters are typically positioned close to the bridge, which is the nerve center of the ship. Here, decisions are made, and the course of the ship is charted. This proximity to the command center is essential, as the captain is often required to be near the action, especially during high-stakes operations, or when critical decisions need to be made. The captain, as the commanding officer, oversees the entire ship's operations, including air operations, navigation, security, and coordination with the aircraft carrier strike group. It's a position of immense responsibility and constant pressure, making the role of the captain more intense than one might expect. While the captain's quarters are designed for more privacy, other high-ranking officers, such as admirals, typically have slightly larger quarters compared to the lower-ranking officers, but still with an emphasis on practicality and functionality. Flag officers, who might be assigned to oversee larger fleets or specific missions, usually have a suite that consists of a private office, sleeping quarters, and areas to meet with other senior officers or visiting dignitaries. These rooms are still confined to a relatively small space compared to what civilians might expect from executives in leadership roles. However, the officers' living spaces offer more solitude and comfort than the shared spaces below deck. Even within these quarters, the high-ranking officers continue to work long hours. They are rarely off-duty, with the ship running on a 24-hour schedule. When not attending to meetings, operational briefings, or strategic planning sessions, these officers spend much of their time overseeing the day-to-day functions of the ship. The life of a U.S. Navy officer aboard an aircraft carrier is a blend of administrative responsibilities, leadership tasks, and decision-making under pressure. The officers spend much of their time ensuring that the ship's crew remains in good working order, that aircraft operations are proceeding smoothly, and that everything from maintenance to safety protocols is up to standard even in their living quarters. These officers rarely have a moment to themselves. Constant communication is the hallmark of life on a U.S. aircraft carrier. High-ranking officers are always in touch with other naval assets, receiving and giving orders, maintaining surveillance on their operations, and coordinating with military leadership. Even in their quarters, they are often communicating with other Navy personnel, reviewing intelligence, and preparing for the next phase of the mission. The role demands that they be ready at all times to step into action, whether it's during an emergency or as part of regular ship operations. Though these officers do have some time off, the nature of their duties makes personal time limited and precious. The ship's officers' wardroom is a place where they can relax and socialize during downtime, though it is still a work-centric environment. Here, meals are served and informal meetings are held. Unlike the crowded mess halls where the enlisted sailors eat, the wardroom is quieter, designed for officers to discuss strategy, decompress after a long shift, or enjoy a brief respite from their duties. Meals in the wardroom are of a higher quality than those served to the crew, but still, they remain basic compared to civilian standards. Officers share the space with their fellow officers, and the dining room provides a brief break from the tension of the ship's operations. Physical fitness is also a big part of life on the aircraft carrier, even for high-ranking officers. The ship has a gym, and many officers make use of it to stay in shape. Maintaining physical fitness isn't just about personal health. It's also a way for officers to relieve the stress of their demanding schedules. The pressure to keep the ship and its crew ready for any mission can be overwhelming, so finding outlets to stay fit and clear-headed is essential. Some officers also find downtime in the ship's recreational areas, watching movies, reading, or enjoying quiet moments in the limited privacy their quarters allow. But beyond the physical demands, the emotional toll of life aboard an aircraft carrier can be challenging for high-ranking officers as well. Despite their more private quarters, they are not immune to the isolation of life at sea. Extended deployments, sometimes lasting months, mean that officers, like everyone else on board, miss their families and loved ones. Communication with the outside world is often limited to occasional calls or emails, and officers learn to adapt to the emotional challenges of being away from home for such long periods. The bonds they form with their fellow officers and the crew help provide support, but the isolation can still be difficult to manage. The chain of command is another critical aspect of life for high-ranking officers. They are always surrounded by other military leaders, whether it's in their role as part of the senior leadership team or in coordinating with the officers responsible for specific ship functions. The aircraft carrier is a highly organized military machine, and officers work tirelessly to ensure the ship's operations continue smoothly. There's a constant balance between overseeing the operations of the ship and tending to the welfare of the crew. The officers are responsible for ensuring that their team works as a cohesive unit, and their leadership is vital in maintaining the high morale needed to carry out the Navy's missions. Despite the challenges, high-ranking officers aboard a U.S. aircraft carrier are, above all, leaders. They are tasked with ensuring that their ship remains ready for anything that may come their way, from humanitarian missions to combat operations. Their living quarters, while more comfortable than those of the crew, reflect the demanding nature of their jobs. They are leaders who are always prepared to step into action, balancing their role as decision-makers with their responsibility to ensure the crew's well-being and the success of the ship's mission. Life for high-ranking officers on a U.S. aircraft carrier is a unique blend of responsibility, leadership, and sacrifice. While they enjoy more privacy and comfort than the enlisted sailors, they still live in a high-stakes, high-pressure environment where every decision they make can have far-reaching consequences. Their quarters may be modest compared to civilian executives, but the challenges they face on a daily basis make their role aboard the aircraft carrier critical to its success.